Today we're in the Bay doing the 150 Iron Challenge. Titleist T150 and the Callaway Apex Ai150. I'm Drew Mahowald of Second Swing Golf, joined by Kevin Kraft. In the Second Swing Minnetonka Tour van, Kevin has flown in from his station at the Second Swing Columbia store to do some testing, and this is going to be an interesting one. We've got this 150 naming convention. It's been, I guess now it's shared in a sense, Titleist and Callaway. I don't know if it's a mutual sharing, but they're both naming their irons with kind of a numbering system, so to speak. And now we've got 150 irons that actually have a pretty similar size and shape in a sense. Your first impression, these are both brand new, middle of the year 2025, Kevin. Your first impression on these?
This is an iron that Callaway really needed to release, I think. Looks good. I expect good performance out of this.
Yeah.
Hopefully something that will, pique some mid-season interest.
Yeah, I think it's a nice complement to the rest of the Apex lineup with the Ai200, Ai300. I think it's something that if you like that explosiveness, that distance, you really like that in your irons, but you want something a little smaller. That's kind of, I think, what they're going for here with the Ai150. Now the T150 here. So the T-Series has been really successful. What do you see from this one?
Not a massive look change from the top. They did such a great job with the 100, 150 series that they didn't need to make massive changes, I don't think. So it looks very much like a Titleist iron, and I expect it to perform like a Titleist iron. Yeah,
it looks very similar to the past. They've told us that they're not going to change much if there's nothing to the if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Exactly.
So, slight loft difference, 32 versus 31. 32 in the T150, Ai150 has 31, so that might impact things. But I'm curious to see what we get on Trackman.
Yeah.
Let's go swing. Well, you're going to go swing.
Okay,
Apex Ai150 we'll start with here, Kevin.
Okay.
As we do, I need to get your take on appearance and address and the look before we hit any shots.
Yeah, so this definitely in the AI series is easily the thinnest top line, which is going to be very appealing for a lot of people. It still has kind of the new shape of Apex that they kind of changed when they did this series.
I know it's probably not. I know you've told me before it's not your favorite change they've made.
Yeah,
you've been a huge fan of Callaway shape for a long time.
I have.
Yeah,
absolutely. So this shape isn't exactly my jam. Eventually, we'll hopefully get to talk about X Forged, and that's
which I know you like a little better.
Completely different animal. That's like making me very happy. So, but yeah, I mean it's a nice, not super small package, but definitely, for this Apex line, this is your player's club right now, and it looks good. I like all the chrome. Some people haven't loved the chrome thing.
It's not my favorite.
Okay.
I like the brushed or the kind of the satin versus the shiny.
Yeah. So the chrome thing is kind of traditional, right? So harken back to when I was a wee lad and growing up with clubs there had a lot of chrome to them.
Right.
So, yeah. All right. Modus 105 stiffs in these.
In both.
Yep. Yeah. So.
All right. Swing number one of the day.
Okay. Well, that's a decent amount of spin.
And what we've seen, at least from the 200 and 300, was, I feel like, pretty low spin rates.
Yeah.
For the Ai200 and Ai300. And that's kind of been the case with Callaway game improvement irons in the past.
It has.
The Elite series is better.
Elite's been way better. The Thai Fusion's has been better. So, a couple good options in there.
Well, these three shots have produced some pretty consistent golf shots here in terms of the numbers on spin, launch, ball speed.
Height's
been
a little
pretty close to the same
low,
thing. How are you feeling like you're hitting this, and what is the contact? I mean,
it's crisp. It's solid. Feels good. I mean, it's It's giving me good feedback. I can tell I was maybe just a little low on the face on the first couple. That one was hit a little bit more solid, and you know, it's good on the feedback side of things.
Yeah.
For a player, you want that. You want that sense of,
you don't want it to be totally like just mush where no matter where you hit it, it's the same thing.
You don't want to be standing there going,
there are clubs that do that nowadays, you know, that
Yeah.
almost remove the feedback altogether. You want at least some of it to know
yes,
where you're making contact.
absolutely.
Some more speed there. Different sound on that one too. So
That was a little different sound, wasn't it?
It does present a bit of a sound that's, I don't want to say like this is going to sound like a bad word, but like tinny almost. There's a little bit of that. I guess, does it feel, and do you hear that as well?
I hear a little click.
Yeah.
I don't.
Another way to describe it.
I would say, for me, click versus tinny. I actually consider those two different things.
Just a little bit like high pitched.
Yes.
Something.
Yep. But this seems to be the trend across clubs these days, is more of a high pitched sound, and it has to be in construction the way that these are being built, because it's not exclusive to Callaway.
Right.
So.
Right, you're picking up the ball speed as we go here. This is interesting. So we're learning some things about this club here.
Yeah.
It's very hot. There's some ball speed. When you
is hot.
When you make that center, I mean, it's a 142 smash. We're in the below 4,500 spin. Let's get one more here, and then we'll balance out some data. Another fast one. Interesting. How'd that contact feel?
That was good. I mean, it was solid.
It's registering a little more spin than
just
I
left
thought.
the face open a little bit, so I would expect to see a little more spin off the face being open.
All right, so here's our 7 shots. You had a pretty consistent start to the right, didn't draw all the way back, and we noticed. And you mentioned the first few shots, you thought you were a little low on the face, which that I've got another monitor here that shows impact location, and that is true. So what I'm gonna, just for the people to see that, we can go through each shot, but you were kind of low, low, low again. Then we started to find it here towards the end where it was a lot closer to the center. And you're seeing how the numbers change a little bit on those shots. You know, does anything else jump out at you here? I think the big thing for me is when you hit it solid, these few shots here in particular, the spin dropped down below 5,000. Because we know lower on the face will increase the spin.
Absolutely.
And so that was kind of how the ball was going over 5,000 a few times. I would say you hit 5 really good center strikes, it's going to be in that sub 5,000 range.
So when I tested this with our Callaway rep this week?
It's been a crazy travel.
It has been, I'm kind of lost. I think it was actually Monday. What I was getting with it was right around 4,900. So not super low, but maybe not as high as some players are going to want it to be. So there are obviously ways in which we can manipulate things. We do a lot of loft bending, not stronger, but actually weaker to try to get spin up for people. This one is a degree stronger than the Titleist, so you know we got a little bit more to play with there. Maybe try to get that spin rate up just a little bit.
Sure.
Yeah.
And one thing I'm also noticing is these 2 shots, number 6 and 7 here, were made. Contact was made very close to the middle. I mean, it's basically center's face on both of them, right? Yeah. But we see a pretty different spin rate, and the face was open a little more on the second one by less than a degree. But you see a pretty big difference in the spin there. Yeah,
and that is interesting. I mean, I would expect some more spin on the ball that's hung out to the right, but 700 RPMs
seems
a lot.
So, something to watch for. Again, we see a lot of ball speed here. I do like how the ball speed didn't change a ton when you were hit it low on the face, because we know these strikes and where they were was pretty low, and to see it only drop a couple miles an hour, I think is noteworthy as well. So
definitely.
Well, okay, let's get to the T150.
Okay.
All right, so T150, how much different does that look?
It looks a little different. The the crotch of this iron, where the hosel meets the head, a little tiny bit higher.
Sure. Which do you like that? No.
I like lower. I like a deep crotch with a fairly tall rise to the toe.
Okay.
So I mean, it's just insanity. It is what it is.
That's just Kevin being Kevin.
Yeah, these look, the top line's very similar, which is great, very appealing. We've got a brushed look, so
which is my
not
preference.
quite as doesn't glare quite as much. I like this too. I actually in that regard, I don't have any real insanities. I'm okay with that, and I'm okay with this.
Okay.
So there's no issues there.
I'm curious, so we see in particular if spin changes at all, consistency, because we have that loft difference that I mentioned. This is 1 degree weaker in its standard spec. So we'll see how that changes things. Maybe a little bit
just behind that one.
A little behind that one, yeah.
Yep.
That's what it sounded like. I will say those two numbers on the carry distance, I think, were the exact same. Just one got there a little more knucklebally than the other. That was hit better.
That was a good strike. A little hanger.
Well, we're getting consistent carry distances so far. Whether that's, I know that you've hit them all a little bit differently.
That one was a smidge thin.
Yeah, a little bit. How does this one feel compared to the Ai150?
Honestly, it feels pretty similar.
Okay.
They both feel really good, very responsive, just like you'd want in a player's club. This one, auditory response is a little more muted.
Okay.
We talked about maybe a little bit of click with that one.
Yeah,
I don't really hear that so much with this. Yeah. Oh, that was really thin. That was really thin.
Okay. Well, we're seeing what happens when you hit the ball thin on the irons.
Yep.
This is just what happens with any club. It's going to go a little shorter. It's not going to fly as high.
Yeah.
It's going to spin a little more.
Yep.
Happens with drivers too.
Indeed it does. There we go. That was probably the best swing I've put on it so far today.
All right, so we've got 7 with each club now. So this is interesting. This actually, by the way, you're looking at another monitor. There's 2 in the exact same spot there. I don't know if you see that, but it's kind of fun.
Why, yes, there are.
So, all right, so here's our dispersions. See, these are the 2 I'm talking about. There's like 2 right here.
Yeah, okay.
Dispersions, I think for the sake of, I know we like to do this and kind of identify the best in each, in each grouping. Mm-hmm. I would say it actually evens out pretty well in that you had maybe 2 or 3 with each that were pretty thin.
Yeah.
And so I will say with the T150, your carry distances were a lot more consistent. Yeah, these, you could pick out the 2 thin ones, right? This one here and this one. Everything else, it was 173, 172, 171, 172, 172. So I like that consistency. This group right here that I'm kind of circling with the cursor.
Yeah.
That's the same distance every time. And you didn't hit them all the same either. There was I think one that was maybe a little bit, I want to say.
Just a little behind it.
Chunky, a little fat.
Yep.
You had one, in the lower 5,000s for spin. You had one that was maybe higher here in the 5,700s, but the distance stayed really consistent, which I like with that.
Yeah. And I'm working on it. My whole mist thing's been thin for so long now, and I'm actively trying to get it to where I'm not thinning it all the time. So, yeah.
Well, it was, hey, a thin shot is a common thing among golfers too. So it's important to show, I think both irons perform the same on the miss hits, I guess, right? You drop your carry distance by 5 or 6 yards from the average. It's going to happen.
And it's thin to win. Nobody's ever said fat to win.
Yeah.
Right.
The thing is, off a mat, you get a little more forgiveness with a fat shot.
You can get away with the heavy ones in
if you're out there on,
you're not getting away with it
today,
on the
it's
course.
pouring rain right now. If you're out on the golf course, hit one fat, it's not going to work out for you. So any other, I guess, takeaways from the data up here? We've got,
So
I think the spin and the distance probably make a lot of sense based on the loft difference.
Yeah, I think that's very true. Got a little larger spin rate variance than I'd necessarily like to see, just based on one heavy and some thin with both of them. You know,
we got one down in the 40s. This was
that one was the heavier
this
one,
up
but
here that was pretty thin.
Yeah, so overall, like to see that in a fitting. Try to be as tight as possible. But both of these golf clubs feel great. They look good. They're giving good feedback. It's if you're in mid-season and you're like, hey, I really want to go into a little bit more of a players club. Let's get you in and get you working on with these two.
As we wrap, one question I did have for you, and this is, do you think the Apex Ai150 is maybe a little more of a player's distance iron between these two, whereas the T150 is a little more of a player's, a player's iron?
No.
Or do you think they're still pretty?
No, I think I still think they're very much player oriented. Just looking down at them,
just the shape.
They look much more like players clubs.
Okay.
The 150 was born, as a, from the 100S, right? So they took the 100, they made it a little stronger, and then they put it on a new chassis, made it its own thing, which I think was a brilliant move for Titleist to do that. So it's its whole pedigree is from a players club. So I think this is definitely players club. I definitely think that's players club. I know that lofts being a little bit stronger, we might see a little less spin, but we can make those adjustments, right? So we want good landing angles, we want good height, we want good spin.
We got here today with both of these. So I mean, landing angles.
48.7,
well
46,
over 45,
a little bit
50.
lower there, but so I would probably tweak that one a little bit. If this is the club that I landed on, I would probably tweak it a little bit. I'd certainly try it at 1 degree weaker. Right. And great thing with Callaway's new fitting adapter is I can do that.
Yeah.
So we can take it and immediately make that change.
Both of these irons now have new fitting adapters for fitters to work with. So that's
very
that's
cool stuff
cool
with both of them actually.
To this whole thing. So you can get even more dialed in than I would tell people. You can get I say that all the time in videos. You can get dialed in, but you can get even more dialed in now with these two irons with the new fitting adapters with our team. So go get fit, schedule the fitting. T150, Ai150. It's a good year for 150 irons.
It is.
I think it is here. So schedule that fitting. Thank you, Kevin, for joining us today for some testing.
Certainly.